These are the women of Quilts of Honor.
I'm Betty Rice. I'm 72 years old, and my brother Johnny was in the Air Force for 20-some years.
My name is Myra Forbin. I'm 73.
Carol Scamara, I'm 62. I spent 3 years in the Navy.
Bobby Jarrett, I'm 76 years old, and my husband was in the Coast Guard.
I was an Army nurse back in 1965 to 67.
My husband is a Vietnam vet. My father and my father-in-law both were in World War II.
My dad is a World War II vet.
I come from a military family, starting with my grandfather, who was an officer in World War I.
Founded in 2010 by Army veteran Gail Belmont, more than 4,900 military veterans have received these gifts of gratitude.
What I'm doing when I'm sewing is I'm praying over the different stitches, that the person that receives it would get some comfort from it, whatever comfort they need.
Much more than stitches go into the making of these quilts.
You look at the fabric and you think, what would he like? And then you start putting the quilt together. And you have to touch the fabric. That's what the main thing is. You're touching the fabric and you feel like you're touching them.
Mainly, it's the patriotic and the thankfulness that I put into my quilting. I want it to be a message of my appreciation and my love, and I want them to know that we care very deeply about their service.
When a man gets a quilt that it has maybe 8 different names on it of women that have made it for him, there's a different impact in their life. They understand, they've never been thanked for Vietnam. And when they see that, the difference is, it brings tears to their eyes.
Quilts of Honor is an all-volunteer army of 500 plus, armed with needle, thimbles, and thread, passing along with their quilts a message.
It's from the whole country, appreciating the sacrifice that they made, their time, in some cases their lives, in some cases their health, their legs, different things that they gave up in order to serve our country. The quilt is coming from Quilts of Honor, but also from everyone.
I want him to be pleased that somebody recognized and honored his service. I want him to realize that every time he wraps himself up in the quilt, he's getting hugged by a group of people who appreciate his service, and we just want the vets to know that we love them.
On November 18th, 100 quilts will be presented to survivors of the Hanoi Hilton, American POWs held captive during the Vietnam War, some for years.
I started scrolling through the list of names and came across a name and immediately called up here and I said, if this man registers for this reunion, I want to make his quilt. I said, I have to make his quilt. And they said, why? And so I explained. The gentleman's name is Captain Wendell Alcorn. He's 78 years old. He's a Navy pilot. He spent over 2,900 days in the Hanoi Hilton, which is over 7 years. But the most interesting fact is that my maiden name is Alcorn.
It is personal connections such as this that the quilters make as they piece and stitch fabric together, and their message is clear.
A quilt is a hug of gratitude for them.
When I touch a quilt, I know that it's made with love, and that's what I want them to feel, is that this quilt was made with love.